Hi everyone! Welcome to the Crafty Pixie channel where we do sewing projects and subscription boxes. I am Bee. Whether you are new or old to this channel, thank you so much for stopping by. It is wonderful to have you. In today's video, we've got a quick little project for you. It's beginner friendly. It's not too bad at all. It's just a few pieces of fabric, cotton fabric at that, but it is a, I guess, shopping list holder. You stick your shopping list in here. It's got two little places that you can just slide the paper right on into. On the back, it's got a nice good sized pocket to stick extra lists or coupons or whatever. And then right here, you have a pocket for business cards or anything else you might want, smaller coupons, anything like that. It is great. These two pockets on the back are optional. You don't have to do them if you don't want to. They also give you a option where you can stick an elastic on the side so you can slide your pen in. I didn't do that one, but you can definitely do that. That's nothing hard at all for that. But it's great. I did mine with quilt cotton. I don't suggest anything else because the seam allowances do get really bulky. So I would definitely stay with quilt cotton, definitely stay with like SF 101. Wouldn't go do anything else like that, anything thicker. We definitely hard for you to do. Very, very easy, very beginner friendly. My least favorite part is turning everything right side out because there's not a lot of space for you to turn everything right side out. So when you have all the interfacing and all these layers, it gets a little tricky. You just take your time and you go slow and you'll be fine. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell so you know when I upload every Wednesday morning. Leave a comment in the comment section down below, especially if you are a new subscriber, and give the video a thumbs up. Without any further ado, as usual, I'll have a link in the description box below for the pattern. But anyway, without any further ado, let's get some materials and get started. For this project, we're just going to need a few things. This isn't a crazy long or difficult project. So of course you're going to need, it's always a good idea to have a seam ripper on hand. Always a good idea to have a marking tool, scissors, your adjustable seam gauge, the corner turner, or seam turner I should say, and then your pattern pieces. So you've got two for the front and back. They are interfaced with SF 101 or Decoville, whichever one you would like to do on both. It is very important that you follow the grain line. Okay, so make sure when you're cutting these out that you are watching that. Then if you're going to do the back pocket, you need two of the back pocket pieces, also interfaced with SF 101 or Decoville. You're going to need your the fabric straps that are going to hold the index cards on the top and bottom. So you need two of those interfaced. You need the outside business card pocket interfaced, the backside business card pocket interfaced. And then you're also going to need one cut of Peltex 70 or Peltex Firm, not the sewn kind, not the fusible kind, because we're just going to be stuffing it in. You're not going to actually be like adhering it. Okay, so let's get started. I also forgot to mention that of course you're going to need your clips or pins. Okay, first we're going to work on the fabric straps for the list holder. Okay, so you're going to take your two fabric strips, okay, and you have shorter sides and then longer sides. we're going to fold, turning it so that the wrong side is up. We are going to fold it in half so the long sides are touching, just like so. I'm going to finger press it a little bit before just to make sure it's even. Okay, and then we're going to press it. Alright, there you go. I'm just going to stick a clip here and here just to make sure that this doesn't move while I'm doing the other one. Same thing with this one, wrong side up. We're going to fold in half so that the lengthwise is touching. Press. All right, so now what we're going to do, after I clip it, all right, now what we're going to do is we're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and your folded edge, we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way across. Make sure you back stitch at the beginning and the end of both pieces so your raw edges are going to be left alone. Okay, I'm going to, when you are at the sewing machine, pick which side you want to be facing out, because that's the side that you're going to want up on your sewing machine plate. Okay, I'm actually going to keep them just the way they are because it's right that way. All right, so I'm going to go do that and I'll be right back. Now that that is done, you can go ahead and give that a press. Now we're going to take the fabric that you have chosen to be the front piece of your main panel. So one of the pieces of your pattern piece 1. Okay, and we're going to lay that with right side facing up. And then we're going to take our, we're actually going to do this one. Take this one, and you're going to take the top stitched piece and place that up, and you're going to place the raw edges along the sides and bottom, and you're going to line them up. Make sure they're aligned. And then we're going to clip it. And then we're going to take your other piece, and with the top stitched side facing down, you're going to line up the raw edges along the top and sides, just like we did to the bottom. Clip. Clip there. Now in the pattern she says to go ahead and hand baste these pieces down. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to go to the machine and baste them down. You're going to want to baste it very close to the edge. You just want to attach these pieces so they're not moving around when we're doing the final assembly. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine and baste that down. I'll be right back. This is what you're looking at when you are done. Okay, so you can go ahead and stick this to the side. If you are doing the optional elastic for like a pen holder, this is where you're going to baste it down as well. I'm not doing that for this one, but if you want to, you just literally measure down 2.5 inches, place it in so the raw edges are on the raw edge side, and then baste it down in place. But I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to move on to the card, like business card pocket. So we're going to take business card pocket 4, or piece 4, I should say. Stick that one right there. And you're going to need your seam gauge. If you don't want to use it, of course you don't have to, but we're going to fold this raw edge in 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so we're gonna just literally fold it over. I'm using Decovil on the back of this because I want this to be super sturdy. My seams are gonna be bulky, but I can trim those down. But basically I'm gonna finger press this just so that I can show you, and then go from there. So we're gonna be folding it up 3/8 of an inch. See how accurate I am. Hold on. I am almost there. Hold on. Too much now. There we go. Okay, I will press this. I'm just finger pressing it right now. But you're gonna just 3/8 of an inch all the way across. You can definitely eyeball this. You don't have to do what I'm doing. I'm just very particular, I guess. So I always make sure I do this. Okay, so press it down and everything. Then you're gonna take it to the sewing machine and you're gonna actually like press it down. And then once you're done with that, we're gonna take this over to the sewing machine and you're going to use a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance to just hold this down. So 1/4 inch from here, just 1/4 of an inch in, and press it down. You're going to use a normal top stitch. Okay, so I'm going to go do that and I'll be right back. Now that that is done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach it to pattern piece number 3. So we're going to take it, you're going to lay pattern piece number 3 right side facing up, and you're going to lay pattern piece 4 right side down, and you're going to line up the V from the indent all the way to the edge and then along the sides. Okay, remember this is going to be your business card pocket on the outside. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and we're going to pin or clip, whichever one you want to do. Or if you're that good and you don't use any at all, don't use any at all. But we're going to take it, we're going to clip or clip it. Like so. We're going to take this back over to the sewing machine, and with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, we're just going to stitch right along this V. So back stitch really well at the beginning and at the end. When you get to the V intersection right here, you're going to pivot in your sewing machine and then sew right up the other side. So I'm going to do that. I'll be right back. With that done, this is what you're looking at. Next, you're going to go ahead and you're going to cut little snips right along this edge that all the raw edge that you just sewed. Okay, you're gonna do about 1/8 of an inch. You don't want to go all the way up to your stitch line because you don't want to accidentally cut the stitch line. So once you do that, we're going to literally go ahead and turn it so that it is wrong sides together. This is what you're going to be looking at on the wrong side. You're going to go ahead and I like to, before I iron it, once I get all of the seams flattened out, which is great when you have one of these, because you can use the dollar end and then just come through and just run it across the seam to make sure everything is poked out and rolled out like it should be. And then I like to clip the ends just so that when I go to iron it, I'm not moving it and making it funky. So your ends should be aligned. If they're off by a teensy weensy bit, that's perfectly fine. It happens. So just like that, we're gonna press it. Nice and flat and even. You should not see the back side on the front at all, where the seam is. All right, just like that. And then you can come and clip this tiny little rectangle that's sticking out on both sides. You can go ahead and clip that. All right, so we're nice and level there. Now we're going to take this back over to the sewing machine, and with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, we're going to top stitch right along this V that we just made. I mean, it should definitely be a V. It should definitely be pronounced there for you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll be right back. I went ahead and did the top stitching, and then I gave it a press. Now we're going to attach it to the back pocket. If you don't want to do the back pocket, then don't do the back pocket, but I'm going to do that. So you're going to take your one of the back pocket pieces and lay that right side up, and you're going to lay your card pocket right along the edge, like so. So you're going to line up your raw edge on the long side, across the bottom and across the top. If it hangs over just a little bit, that's okay, because it's going to be caught in those seam allowances. And you're going to go ahead and clip it. So go ahead and make sure it's even, and it's not. All right, so that is that. You can go ahead if you want and baste these 3 if you want. I'm not going to. It's not a very big piece, so we should be just fine. And then you're going to take your top piece, or not your top piece, but your other back pocket piece, and we're going to lay that right side down like a sandwich, okay? And then we're just going to clip it into place. You want to make sure it is all lined up. You don't want any issues. Now these seams are going to get a little bulky. You can definitely either cut the interfacing down a little bit before you stick it on, or you can just cut out some of the seam allowance when we get towards the end. So, all right, just like that. Make sure you're keeping your pocket, the long piece of your pocket, not the V, the long piece over here. Okay. And with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, we're going to stitch along the top and the bottom, back stitching at the beginning and the end. So when you take it to the sewing machine, make sure that you're sewing the top and the bottom. So this side that's got the pocket, leave that alone. And then the other side that has the opening, the V of the pocket, leave that alone. You're literally just doing the top and bottom. So I'm gonna go do that. I will be right back. With that sewn, I went ahead and turned it right side out and pressed it. So you've got your card pocket here and then the other two pieces. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this back over to the sewing machine and we're going to top stitch along this top edge right here at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now, when you are top stitching, your card pocket opening is on your left. Okay, so just make sure that you're top stitching the correct top, I should say. Okay, so I'm gonna go do that and I'll be right back. That is done. Went ahead and top stitched, gave it another press just to make the stitches kind of seal. Now we're going to take our back piece, like the pattern piece 1, the back piece to it, and we're going to lay that right side up. We're going to take our card pocket and business card pocket with the top stitching toward the top, then we're going to lay it down, and we're going to place this pocket piece 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom. So I'm going to use my seam gauge and just pull it down. Right till it bumps up against that, just like that, and then we're going to clip it into place. And what you're going to do now is we're going to baste the two long edges, and then we're going to stitch the bottom, and we're going to stitch the bottom with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so you can top stitch it if you want to. You can do a normal stitch, whichever one you want to do, but we are stitching across the bottom at 1/4 of an inch and then basting up the side. When you are stitching, make sure you back stitch at the beginning and at the end. I'm gonna go do that and I'll be right back. We are just about done. Now that we have this attached to the back panel, so you've got your pocket opening toward the top, we're going to take our front panel, we're going to lay that right side down, right on top of the other stuff, and we're going to pin all around the edges. Make sure you're as even as you can be. There's going to be a little bit of a difference in the way the fabric lays because of the pockets and everything. So just bear that in mind and keep an eye on that. And at the bottom here, you're going to want to leave at least 3 inches opening. I mean, you really want to make sure this opening is big enough. You do have a lot that you are going to be pulling through it. So make it as wide as you need. All right, we're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and with a 3/8 inch seam allowance, we're going to sew all the way around. So backstitch at the beginning and at the end really, really well. You don't want this breaking at this point, because then you're going to have to do the whole thing again. Backstitch, come all the way 3/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay, and then we'll be able to turn everything right side out and finish everything up. So I'm going to go do that, and I will be right back. Once you stitch everything around, you turn, clip all of your corners, clip all of the excess bulk on the sides, and flip it right side out. I almost had to scrap this whole thing. Be very, very careful when you are turning everything out. It is very, very difficult to do in the hole that you have available at your disposal to turn everything right side out. But I did it. Here it is. It's, you know, you want to try to get it as straight as possible. That doesn't always work with, you know, the amount of bulk and everything like that, but it's okay. Now we're going to insert our Peltex, so you can fold it in half. In the opening that you still have, slip it in. So it goes all the way in. You want to make sure it goes all the way. You may have to trim a little bit off depending on everything. Yeah, I'm gonna have to trim just a little bit off. So, and then just with your fingers, work it so that it unfolds. Whatever way it's gonna be easiest to do for you. But you want to unfold it so that everything, like you're not even able to get like a bunch of fingers in here, so you really have to maneuver everything around. Pull it open, move it around, straighten it out a little bit. Can't really like fold it in on itself either, because it's very bulky. Come on. With the piece and the Peltex in, you are good there. Now all we have to do is fold our opening and seal it shut, never to be open again. So you want to make it as flat as possible. I know that's not going to be easy with this, but it's good. All right, so that's all sealed there, just like that. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna top stitch all around the outer edge at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, closing everything in. You know, back stitch at the beginning and the end as usual. Nothing new there. Try to make your closing of your opening as seamless as possible. All right, so I'm gonna go do that, and I'll be right back. With one final press, you are done. Voila, there you go. Now you've got like a little note holder or grocery list or anything like that. You've got the pockets and the other card pocket there. Voila. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Leave a comment in the comment section. And until next time, See ya!